Okay, it seems like students are slowly coming in. So I'll begin now as students come in, just so we're mindful of time. Okay. So hello, everyone. I hope you all are well and keeping safe during this time. Please wear your masks, follow social distancing protocols, and get vaccinated as soon as possible. My name is Isma Aslam, Education USA advisor based in the US Educational Foundation in Pakistan. I am a graduate of Vassar College with a bachelor's degree in English. With me, I have my colleagues Mashal Naim Khan, Sayyid Asad Ali Shah, and Raja Sohaib Jahangir. We welcome you all to the third session of our week-long virtual pre-departure orientation 2021, organized for students who apply to U.S. institutions and are heading out primarily in the fall of 2021. Congratulations to you all on receiving an acceptance from a U.S. university. You all have worked very hard. In order to help prepare for your departure, we organized daily sessions for you this week from Monday to Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Pakistan time. We already covered topics such as preparation and arrival and cultural adaptation and student life in the United States, with sessions now on US classroom culture separately for both undergraduate and graduate students, followed by wrapping up the week with a current student and alumni panel discussion. Today, we are here to help you understand the US classroom culture for undergraduates. Please feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A section. We encourage you to ask questions exclusively related to today's session, which is US classroom culture for undergraduates, as we will be discussing other topics over the next few days, so you will have the opportunity to ask other questions in our upcoming sessions. Now, as mentioned in our confirmation email that we sent out to you, we want to encourage your participation, which is why we have included a quiz at the end of our presentation. Winners will be winning these fabulous prizes. We are giving away wireless earbuds, fitness tracker, and a portable speaker. One participant can only win one prize throughout the PDO week. A few housekeeping rules before we begin. The session will run for approximately 1 hour. The session will be recorded and posted on Facebook at a later date. Questions will be addressed towards the end of the presentation. Use the Q&A box to leave your questions or comments. The question for today's quiz is taken from today's presentation, so make sure you are listening to us and our presenters very carefully. To participate, you should have already sent us a scanned copy of your I-20 or DS 2019. Winners will get to take the prize only if they submitted their I-20 or DS 2019 before the session today. We have one question in the quiz section, so good luck to you all. We're very excited. Before we formally begin the presentation today, a little bit about who we are. Education USA is a global network under the US Department of State made up of over 425 international student advising centers in more than 175 countries. We are your official source to US higher education through Education USA advisors, working with advisees to provide updated, comprehensive, and unbiased information on higher education in the United States. In Pakistan, we are part of the United States Educational Foundation in Pakistan, USEFP, which is also the Fulbright Commission in the country. USEFP promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational and cultural exchange. We have offices in Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi, but are available for any student that needs support or advising throughout Pakistan, virtually through email and call. Given the current pandemic situation, Education USA Pakistan is completely virtual, so you can easily access our advising services and sessions online. Other than advising, USEFP also has a programs department that administers multiple funded programs, including the Fulbright Scholarship, and has an authorized pro-metric testing center at all 3 centers. You can find more details on our website, www.usefp.org. Coming back to our session, as mentioned, our topic under discussion today is studying in the USA, US classroom culture, undergraduate. And to present on this, we have invited 2 very special guests, professionals in the field, Mr. Christian DiGregorio, Director of International Recruitment, York College of Pennsylvania, and Mr. Junnan Liao, Assistant Director of International Outreach at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. Mr. Christian DiGregorio has been in the field of enrollment management for over 20 years. Working his way through the ranks of Marywood University, Scranton, Pennsylvania, he was named Senior Director of University Admissions in 2009, where he headed student recruitment for all university levels, including bachelor, master, doctoral, intensive English, and pre-collegiate programs. He was recently appointed Director of International Recruitment at York College of Pennsylvania, where he will lead internationalization efforts for the university. Christian is a frequent presenter for NAFSA and Education USA centers. He graduated with a BFA in pre-art therapy from Kansas State University and later attained an MS in secondary education counseling from Marywood University. Mr. Junnan Liao, originally from mainland China, came to the US as an international student and completed his master's degree in communication arts. Inspired by the diversity of American education, Junnan launched different cultural and academic programs between China and the US in his early career. In his recent role as Assistant Director of International Outreach at AMDA, Junnan travels around the globe, meets, inspires, and engages with prospective international students by sharing his own experiences as an international student in the States. These unparalleled experiences, both as an international student and school outreach and admission person, give Junnan unique perspectives and help international students. We thank both presenters for taking out the time for our session today. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to use the Q&A section. We will try to include as many of your questions as possible towards the end of our presentation. I would now hand it over to Christian to begin the presentation.
All right, thank you, Isma. So congratulations to everyone as you begin your journey to the United States. It's something you've been preparing for quite some time, and now it is a reality. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect. The first thing that I do want to bring up is that every institution wants you to be successful, no matter which school that you're going to be attending. Our jobs is to make sure that you're successful. And we have a lot of different offices that will put things into place to make sure that you are successful. The first one is the financial aid office. These are the one that will give you scholarships. And if you have issues, you need more financing and so forth, they're a great resource. Another office that every university has is a tutoring office. Think of it as, let's say you're going to struggle or you're struggling in math or a chemistry or biology course. In the United States, we have a tutoring office to help students just like that. So you can become kind of engage with the tutoring office and say, hey, I need some help on this math class, or I don't understand this from chemistry. Can you help me with that? And someone will be there to help you. It's a really great service. Generally, this is completely free of charge. And it's just something that you're entitled to and you get to access. The Writing Center may or may not be connected to the Tutoring Center. So that kind of varies from university to university. And they're really great in helping you with writing a research paper. So you might get a question, a professor may ask you to write your research paper in an MLA style or an APA style, and you may be thinking, what are these writing styles and why do I need to do this? The Writing Center are the people, in addition to your professor, that can help you with that. A lot of schools will allow you to even go with a rough draft of your research paper and kind of go through it with you. Again, generally free of charge, and just something that allows you to be successful. There's health services. If you become sick, you can go see a nurse or a doctor on campus. And there's mental health services. It's something that tends to be a bit of a stigma around mental health and talking about feelings and emotions. And in the United States, this is becoming less and less, as in a lot of different areas. And there's the thought of, if you're going to exercise and make your body strong, you need to do the same with your mind. And sometimes bouncing different ideas or getting a different perspective off someone else can be very, very helpful. And then, of course, schools will have an international office. It'll have a support office. It may be called a few different things, but it'll all be there. And Junnan, in his presentation, will talk about the international office a little bit further and some of the services, in addition to some other offices that will be very important for you to know. Next. All right. Now that you're attending, you're going to go right to campus, you're going to arrive, you're going to be really excited, and a few different things are going to happen. Most likely, there's going to be what's called an orientation. And this is going to help you integrate and fit into campus. You're going to get introduced with a lot of people. You may meet someone called an academic advisor, depending on your institution. And you may be asking, what is an academic advisor? This is someone that helps you plan out your classes. They may help you plan out your classes throughout your full 4 years. It really depends on the institution. But academic advisors, if you have one, are really great because you can ask them, I want to do this subject, but I like this subject too. Is there a way to take this subject? Or I'd like to be, go into this profession with my major. How do I get there? How do I make that happen? So the academic advisor will help you make this what's called an academic plan, someone who helps you plan out your 4 years. Now, at orientation, you also meet a lot of other people that will help you with your immigration status, housing, where you're going to live for the next couple of years, what your dining options are, how to get involved in campus. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but different clubs and activities, and you'll be introduced to a lot of, what they call senior members of campus or the student body, students that have been there for 3 or 4 years that you can engage with and kind of find out what to expect and what things are like at the school. Next slide, please. All right. You may have or will get handed a schedule. And the schedule is going to be a little different than what you're used to. So this is a dummy schedule. The school does not exist, so please don't Google it. So this is what a typical schedule may look like. You maybe on Monday, you have 2 classes, but it doesn't start until 1:30 in the afternoon. And Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you only have 1 class. Things might be kind of stacked like that. And it's a little bit different than what you're used to. And this is, very common. This is another reason why we want you to be involved in campus in different clubs and organizations. So with your classes, you'll notice that there's a credit system. So intro to psychology, might be 3 credits. And what does that mean, 3 credits? It's a weight or value that's assigned to a particular subject. If you complete that class, intro to psychology, you're awarded 3 credits. Typically, you're awarded a bachelor degree once you've accumulated 120 to 126 credits, typically in that range, over the course of 8 semesters, which is 4 years. That's how it works. That's how the credit system works in the United States. Most students are going to take anywhere between 14 and 16 credits per semester. So every semester, you accumulate more and more credits, and you get closer and closer to that degree. Now, you don't want to take too many credits or subjects because you can overwhelm yourself. You can actually take too many, and it's just far too much work. So we don't want you taking on too much. Typically, anywhere from 14 to 16, you may take 18. That's not unheard of. But when you get to 21, that's a little bit too much. That's a lot of homework. That's a lot of research, a lot of things. You can get overwhelmed very easily. Next slide, please. All right. Now, in the classroom itself, you need to be prompt. So in the United States, we really go by a clock. 9 o'clock might be your first class, or in the previous example, the previous slide, 1:30 for the intro to psychology. You want to be there a few minutes before because class will start exactly at that time. The teacher's going to walk in and say, okay, we're going to get started. And if you're late, you're going to miss out on some information. Collaboration really is a must. You may be asked, maybe even for the first time, your opinion about something or your thoughts about something. You're going to be asked to collaborate with other people, other mates that you're going to be studying with, and they may be in different classes. So you may take a math class, and you might be a computer science student, and you might be sitting next to an English literature student. That's what they're going to be doing. That's quite common here in the United States, to be studying with different people and getting to know different folks. That's quite common. A lot of people, a lot of classes, they want you to ask questions. So you do need to be prepared and contribute to class. And yes, a lot of professors will grade you on that, how active you are in the class. And sometimes people think that, well, if I ask a question, am I somehow compromising the teacher's authority, or questioning the professor's authority in some way? And the answer is no. Questions are actually encouraged. They want you to ask questions, and it shows that you're contributing to class and contributing to conversation. So we do want you to speak up. And you may not go in the first day and start talking a lot, but to gradually do it over the course of the semester, and being comfortable with it is something that you may have to learn. Class sizes, they may be big, they may be very small. So when I was going to school, my intro to psychology, my physics, and I think I had a biology course, there was art history. I had 200 people in the class. Now, I was perfectly comfortable with that. I had no issues whatsoever. Some people don't like that. It just kind of depends on you. But that's something to maybe expect, that there might be a lot of people in the class, and you're just a number, you're just another student in some cases. Next slide, please. All right. Academic honesty and integrity. This is really important, and Americans take this very, very seriously. There's a lot of terms there that you might run into. Dishonesty, bribery, cheating, falsification of records, or just falsifying documents, or research, plagiarism. These are all things we take really, really seriously. So let's take an example here. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is, let's say you are assigned a research paper. And in that research paper, you have to write, but instead of writing your own work, you go to the internet and you use the copy and paste function on your mouse, and you do that. Okay. This is usually caught by professors, and we actually have software that will catch this. So if someone is plagiarizing or doing a copy and paste from a website and using it as their own work, they'll get themselves into a lot of trouble. Cheating might be, keeping an answer somewhere when they're taking a test. Bribery, I've had students do this, where they'll say repeatedly to me, I'll do anything to get admitted, or I'll do anything for this. And they keep saying, I'll do anything, I'll do anything. And it's like, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to bribe me. These are not things you want to do. And we take it so much to heart, where if we catch a student plagiarizing, we catch a student cheating or bribing, you could be expelled from the university. You could be asked to leave. So we really want you to take note of this and to really understand it. Next slide, please. So you'll be presented with a student honor code or student conduct code, and it'll say all the policies and regulations. It may be found in something called a student handbook that you might get on your first day, or it may be even included in some information you receive on the first day of class. So it has a lot of information. Please read that very carefully. It will provide an overview of any violations and how violations are processed. So if you cheat, it'll tell you kind of what's going to happen to you and how that process is going to work. So again, don't cheat. And if you do, I mean, think of it this way, how are you going to reach your potential as a student if you cheat? So we don't want you to do that. We want you to meet your full potential and be the best student, and then eventually have some of the best jobs that are available once you graduate. Next slide, please. All right, so it's the first day of class. You're most likely going to be given a document called a syllabus. What is a syllabus? It provides all kinds of different good information, contact information for your professors, what to expect in a certain subject that you're going to take, in terms of what books are you going to need. You're going to have to go to the bookstore or order something online. So which books? The syllabus will tell you. It'll tell you the major assignments with the due dates. It's basically a schedule of what's going to happen during that semester. It's a really good document, and you will reference this document, the syllabus, all throughout the course of the subject. So you really want to pay attention to that. Email etiquette. If you need to contact your professor through email, they get many emails, and professors try to get to every one of them. So be professional and just get right to the point. They want you to just go right there and get what you need. Don't use flowery language. Don't give them a long winding story saying, I need this, and just do that. Try not to get overwhelmed or procrastinate. Okay. The syllabus is given to you for a reason, so you don't procrastinate. You know when the subjects are due, when the assignments are due. So the assignment is due in 1 month, in 2 weeks, whatever it might be. So don't delay working on those projects. When you first get a syllabus, and let's say you're taking 4 or 5 subjects, and you line up all your syllabi, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and think, how am I going to do all this work? Don't worry, take a deep breath. You're going to be able to do it just fine. But it is important that you take responsibility for the work that's assigned to you. Don't wait for people to tell you what you need to do. You have to be proactive. Don't wait for someone to tell you what you should be doing, what you need to be doing. You're the boss of you. You need to take care of you. So please take responsibility. When you're in a university, people are not going to hold your hand. You have to go and do your assignments. And when you need help, to say, hey, I think I need help. And that can be a very humbling experience. But again, as I indicated in my first slide, we want you to be successful. If students are not successful, universities will go out of business, okay? So we really want you to do well. Next slide, please. All right, a little bit about culture. We don't want you to cluster too much. We want you to make friends, okay? In America, you'll find that the makeup of students is so diverse. You have people from all over the world, but all over the United States. And we want you to make friends. So don't just hang out with the Pakistani students. Hang out with other people too. Make friends with Americans. I had a friend tell me who's international, and he said he came to the United States, he studied, and he said, why did I come to the United States if I'm not going to make friends with Americans? He said it's one of the great experiences. And people say, how do I make friends with Americans? The best way is food. Food, tea. If you're in a residence hall, bring some tea with you from home. It's very light. You could fit it in your luggage. And make tea for people. They'll love it. If you're someone like me, we love this kind of thing. So really, it's a great way to engage with people. You might struggle. The first 2 weeks are going to be amazing. You're going to get there. You're going to meet all kinds of people. It's going to be really exciting. You're in America. It's something you work towards for a long time. And now after that 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the reality starts to set in, and you may find yourself maybe a little lonely. And that's perfectly normal. You may find yourself eating a meal or two by yourself, which can be very odd for you. It's odd for me to do it. Take a deep breath, relax, you know, get involved with the international office and get involved with different places around campus, and just get involved, and things will slowly happen. So there's going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs throughout your education. Don't get too far down. Stick with it. You're going to be fine. The great thing about joining different clubs and joining different organizations on campus is, yes, you do have the social aspect, but there's also opportunities for leadership. You have to think of the approach this way. When you're getting a degree in America, it's not just about getting a degree and that's it. You're building an experience for yourself. You're building a resume for yourself. So when you leave, you're much better prepared. So don't go in with a mindset of, I'm just going to get a degree. There's so many other things that you could do at an American university, other ways to get involved. And it's just a great opportunity. Safety. Campuses in the United States are very safe. Rarely will you ever have a problem on campus because the university can control what happens on campus. When you leave the campus, that's when you need to use common sense, okay? The university can't control what happens once you leave your campus, all right? So for example, don't walk alone at night. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, don't take a stroll or leave campus and go for a walk. You'll probably get yourself into trouble, okay? And that's not meant to scare you in any way, but I just want you to be prepared and take care of yourself. Again, campuses are very, very safe. Rarely are you going to have an issue, but just be careful, leaving campus, say late at night. You want to be careful there. All right, next slide, please. All right, I'm going to hand this over to Junnan. Thank you very much, and we'll handle some questions at the end. Off to you.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you, Education USA, for having us today. Hello, everybody. My name is Junnan. As Education USA advisor just mentioned, I was an international student myself. I originally from mainland China. First of all, I want to congratulations everybody for having your acceptance letter right now. You probably already get your visa stamped. If no, I know you are on the way. Some of you maybe took already 1 year gap because of pandemic. But anyway, you are coming to the United States. So every single time when I was invited to do this sort of like a pre-departure orientation, I always feel very special because, I don't know, because every single moment just reminded me when I, or maybe you guys were started when your parents told you, okay, hey, how about you go to United States to do your undergrad? You remember that moment? I do remember because even though I only came to the States for my graduate school, but when I know that I have to go for my graduate school, the experience in the United States, I literally couldn't sleep for at least 2 nights because I'm just start to imagine where should I live, on Fifth Avenue in New York City or living close by Columbia or NYU. That's just like first night. And then when I hit the road to take the TOEFL and do the GRE and do the GMAT, and I mean, this journey was very struggle. It's kind of like sometimes you feel very frustrated. I know you. So, but every single time when I feel like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, but I turn on the TV set and say, this is Gossip Girl, right? I have to follow them to go to New York City to do my graduate school in New York City, Manhattan. But turns out nothing like the Gossip Girl. besides this building. That's just kidding. I just want to give you guys, like, I was there, I just with you guys, I feel what you feel right now. But from now, you're really hit the road towards your journey in the United States. No matter you come to the states, wherever you are, like New York City, Los Angeles, big city, or in some states in the Middle East or in the South, United States offer different kind of the diversity in terms of the campus experience. But as international students, we have something in common. So what Christian just told you guys is about this classroom, about the integrity and how to choose the classes. But as international students, we add more. I can say it's a different layer. It's an additional layer compared to the domestic students, because we coming to the United States as a visa holder, which means everybody, you're either getting your F1 visa stamp on your passport, or you're a J1 student as a exchange students. So you will always be in contact or have a different layer to contact the international student office, which I will go that part later. But I want to start my information section today by breaking down the timeline. So I break down this journey into the 5 different phrases, which is come from the different timeline here. So first, the phrase 1 here is the week 1 to month 1. So which means when you come to your campus to the 1 week until the 1 month, what do you expect it? So first of all, definitely it's orientation. This orientation, well, from my own experience, is very important. Maybe you will make friends which will become your lifelong friend, or at least during these 2 or 4 years, if you go for undergrad or graduate, depends on your situations. So remember the students who sit beside you, or the dean or assistant dean, whatever, he showed up in the orientation to give you the speech. And maybe that person will become your mentor in the future. So that's your first time to really know your school. When I talk about the school here, in your undergrad level, probably you are not only know that, for example, if you come to NYU, right? And you are not only know NYU, New York City, New York University as a big school, but also you have a very different orientation, which is conducted by your own college. For example, your College of the Arts and the Science, or just like on different college, depends on which program you are going to enroll. So maybe there are 2 different orientation, or maybe 3, because some school like my school, AMDA, will not only have the very general orientation for all students. We have a very special orientation for international students. We have an orientation for different major students, for example, music theater program, acting, or dance theater program. So depends on your program and your school. Maybe you have more. And at the second step in the first week, and definitely you have to report to international students office. Maybe different school have a different name, but normally they will call it like a ISS or ISO. So in this school, in this office, there are a lot of the advisor which can guide you through all this regulation as international student, what you need to do, what you can do. And also you will meet your DSL with a designated or school official, that the person who signed on your I-20, and that person is very important. And whenever you leave the country in the future to, for example, go back to your home country for the vacation, or just get your endorsement for your CPT or OPT, and you have to meet your DSO. Remember this word, the DSO. That's a very important word that you will hear throughout the 4 years in the university. And when you report it to ISO, then you have to update your I-20. So everybody right now, when you're holding your I-20, is the initial I-20. So when you report to the ISO, and your DSO will update it to from your I-20, from your initial I-20 to continue I-20. So that is considered your registration is done. But I don't think that any DSO will issue your updated I-20 until you select your course or your financial or tuition due. So, and also in this ISO, you have to really spend time with your advisor and about F1 students, the regulation. Like I said, most importantly, I think the regulation is about and how many courses you have to take in order to maintain your full-time status, and also the work-related regulation, which means I will go that part later. And the third office I think you need to report to is academic department. And if you are in undergraduate level, so probably you are not going to meet your like a program, because I know some of the students, maybe you already know your major, but some of you are just undecided, right? You just go to the first 1 or 2 years, go get all the general education classes. So in that case, but you still have to meet with your academic advisor, which will help you to choose your classes. So I put this very front, as international students in the undergraduate level, you have to take at least, I think it's 12 or even more credits in order to maintain your full time. I know in graduate courses, you have to choose at least 3 courses, which is nine credits in order to maintain your full-time status. Undergraduate level students will get more, at least maybe 12 or 16. But I'm not sure by right now, but you have maybe later I can give you the very affirmative answer, but it's between 12 to 16, which is 4 classes. Each courses is maybe 3 different credits in order to maintain your full-time status. And the fourth office, I think fourth office you have to report is the bursars office, where you have to pay your tuition. But remember, when you report to the bursars office, you already see this, your financial, the tuition, everything in your school portal. But you sometimes this portal is very stupid. They don't sometimes confirm your scholarship. And also insurance amount usually is adding more or even less. So whenever you pay, believe me, you have to check the exact amount, especially is it, has the scholarship amount inside. If no, go back to your academic or even the register to find out, hey, I have the scholarship and this is my letter, but it doesn't show in my balance. It happened to me twice. So where I didn't see my scholarship, so I just went there and they added and then I paid. And also number 5 office, I think international students will be engaged all the time, is the career service office. Usually career service office will be part of the orientation. They will have some advisor come to, here's a career CSO, and I'm here to help you to get you to understand what's employment situations here in the United States, no matter when you are on campus or when you graduate off the campus. So remember to engage with career service, because you will know that you need them very, very, very much. Then they will literally help you a lot, especially when you are in a school we call on-campus recruiting. A lot of the good company will come to the campus to recruit you, and that is called the different time phrase when you compare to when you graduate. We call it society recruiting. Next slide, please. Okay, so after the first month, it's very frustrated, but also it's very excited because everything's new to you, right? For me, I always want to go out of my campus and by the way, in New York City, if you come to by any chance to come to New York City, there is no campus. My school is just like building by building on downtown Manhattan, midtown Manhattan, everywhere. But if you are going to some university in Mid-East, you are going to have a sort of like a university town by, and where a lot of the students just gathering on the campus, and you can see them. So when you finish your orientation first week, you probably know you are going to take what kind of the courses and how many credits you are going to take per semester. So for you, and that time, you don't need to really carry your I-20 or passport all the time, but I want you to know I-20 is the most important documentation that to verify you as a non-immigration or F1 visa holder student. That's your legal immigration paperwork in the United States, but also it's your proof of your work eligibility. Okay, so during this first one semester, after 1 month until semester one, the first semester, some of the students are still start to thinking, okay, I already get used of this, academic vibe. I want to find a job. Where the place I can go. You cannot go out of campus, which is off-campus employment as this phrase, because as I mentioned, you are only allowed to work on campus during this phrase, or when you are still in your course of the study, like 2 years or 4 years on campus. Only you can do is 20 hours per week as a legal work hours on campus. This is the law tell us to do. If you work off campus or even you work on campus more than 20 hours, you are kind of like jeopardize your I-20, jeopardize your visa status, and maybe nobody found out, but in the later time, I'm telling you, everybody is watching you. If, for example, if you did work, right, you will get the tax paper, and you file the taxes every year. And if your hours for something is, feel different compared to other people's, the IRS, which is the Internal Revenue Service, will come to you. That's the situation you don't want to happen. So remember, if you work on campus, only do 20 hours per week. And there are different kind of the on-campus opportunity that you can do. And the most common one is you can work as TA, RA, and for example, like a physics classes, Christian just mentioned, 200 students in the one classes, the professor definitely gonna need an RA. But sometimes this RA will come from his or her PhD student, but I know some undergrad students, they still become a TA or even become a grader. So you will help your professor to grade the paper, and that time you will get the pay. And also, if your school have the, like, for example, work performed in campus location, like a bookstore, and you can work with a cashier, it's fine, and a cafeteria, work as a cashier is fine. But in some cases, employment of the campus location with educational affiliated with the university, it's a case that you can work off the campus. That is, but it's still like, this off-campus location is which is educational affiliated with the university, but it's still considered as a university on-campus job. But you have to be very, very careful when you have that job offer. Consult with the DSO in International Student Office. Make sure you follow the rule and not break any situation that you don't want to get into. Next slide, please. All right. Okay. So after one semester, you are like not the green bird anymore, right? You know everything. You know where to go if you have some problem, and you may probably already work 20 hours per week, get some small money, and have fun. But after one semester, some students start to think, okay, I really want to not only just staying on campus to doing the work. As undergrad students, you have a lot of the course loads, but some of the students, they still prefer to go out of the campus and go to the job market to test where am I right now? What is this industry? Especially for a lot of the big company right now, and they have very wonderful internship program. They will accept the students even from the sophomore year. So that's why that's a time when students can get to know what kind of the permit or work authorization can help them to work off the campus. And that's a private places you can know, which we call a CPT, curricular practical training. I know CPT is very, very tricky one, because right now, in past 4 years or 5 years, last administration put a lot of the hammer on CPT. That's a time when DSO told the students, we don't want our students really to use CPT unless this is very, very necessary, because CPT should be come from the course. So which means if you want to use CPT, which means your course, one of your course you select, you register, you need you to do the internship in order to complete your degree. Otherwise, there's no way for you to do use your CPT. I used my CPT when I was in my third semester, which is the second year of my graduate school, because I selected one of my class marketing research, asked me to do the field study. So it turns out I have to find a job outside of the university. By the time career service really helped me to connect me with the ABC in New York. So I interned in with ABC, the station, and I get a CPT as well. So, but there are certain different type of the CPT, part-time CPT and a full-time CPT. Usually, if you are getting the job offer during your semester, you're probably gonna use your part-time CPT because you still have to, study and go to the classroom, right? But if you get the job offer during summertime, which is a summer semester or winter time, where you can use your full-time CPT to work full-time for your internship provider or employer. Well, so in that way, you will be working more than 20 hours, probably just like a full-time employee with this employer. So that's the time you have to use CPT. But there is a rule. It's just like a hidden rule, I think. It's from our own experience where international students figure out. Do not use day one CPT. If some employer asks you to, okay, if you join the semester as a first semester and you want to use the CPT, which we call the day one CPT, from the day one you enroll your classroom, that is definitely no. Because that is really hit the bummer that you tell the immigration, okay, this guy is come to the States not for academic study, but want to go to the job market and find a job. That is kind of like against the testimonial that when you go to the embassy to tell the visa officer, okay, the sole purpose for you is come to the States is to study. So do not do day one CPT. So usually the school, university will not allow you to use day one CPT as well. So probably in some cases in my school, we don't want the students to use CPT only if you already passed 1 year or even 3 semesters in a row. That's the slide, please. All right, so when you almost to finish your class, from come to the phase 4, which is last semester to graduate, it's a time that you really want to hit the road to use OPT. OPT is defined as in the federal regulation for students like us to work legally. And from year 1, the period of the OPT is different from year 1 year to 3 years. So for me, my program is not considered as a STEM program, so I only got 1 year's OPT. But for some of the students, if their program are esteemed a STEM program, you're probably gonna get 3 years. So you can apply for the OPT 120 days, which is 4 months prior to your end of your course. Do not wait until your last month of your course to apply for the OPT, because immigration different the USCIS, it's a word that you will hear a lot when you almost finish your classes. So do not wait too late to apply for the OPT. Apply early and you will get your EAD early, which is called the employment authorization documentation. So it's the card, it's literally a card, and when you had a job offer, you have to present the EAD to your employer, say, okay, I'm okay to work legally in the United States. And also apply early, that's most important. And also I want you guys to know, you don't need to get a job offer to apply for OPT. So you apply for the OPT, the only thing you need is to get the signature from your DSO, from your international student office. You don't need to get the job offer first and then apply for the OPT. That's not true. So apply early and get a EAD early, and maybe you can get a job offer early. And when the job offer comes, and you can just start work right away. And because I see a lot of the students, they don't have the EAD, but they have the job offer from Facebook, Google. But in that case, they cannot work. That's really the situation. We don't want to go into that part, right? And prepare, and because usually ISO will through a lot of the orientation seminar to teach you how to apply for the OPT. For you as undergrad students, you are not going to deal with this sort of the OPT things until your senior year. So you still have a long way to go. Last slide, please. Okay, so here come to the end. So if you complete your OPT, which is after maybe 5 years from now on, and you did a really good job to complete your degree, get your degree, and there are only 3 options for us, literally for us. You know, I've been through this whole step. It's not easy, but I don't want our fellow international students to feel very frustrated, because I know you guys already hear a lot of the story about H-1B students cannot get the lottery, and some students get a travel restriction because of the pandemic, everything, every day. You know, United States is a country we really want international students to come to be successful, as Christian mentioned. Everything going to have the same goal. And also this immigration system here is to, I don't want to say it's welcome everybody, because United States is not suitable for everybody for sure. Some students, they find it is very hard to find a job, especially if you are not a STEM program. And but there's still a way for you to figure out. But this path is not easy. Just even it's 100 times difficult than you go to your SAT and ACT. I'm sure that process is very frustrated. So if you complete your OPT, option 1, if your goal is to go back to your home country and you know, find another career in your home country, which is still very good. You have to leave the United States within 16 days, which is 2 months. Option 2, if you find the job offer, your employer will sponsor you for your H-1B visa or O-1, and then you have to, or any other work-related visa program, you have to go to that places to get your immigration paperwork done. And option 3, since you graduate from undergrad, right? Some students will consider, okay, I have to go to graduate school. That's still possible. And you just apply for another institution, transfer your service. Service is literally the same like an I-20. So you have to transfer your SEVI service as record to the different school and to start your graduate level study. And then you will go through the same procedure, get your I-20, and get after 2 years, you will get your OPT again. Yeah, different education level, you will get a different I-20. That's true. So that's a whole journey for international students can be, you know, expected when you start your process. As I said, as an international student, fellow international students myself, I've been through a lot. But, you know, I assure you this 4 years ahead of you, probably gonna be the most exciting, and bitterness and sweetness all as well, the 4 years in your whole life. And you are not alone. You have the students from all over the world, and always International Education USA office are here with you. Even you are in the United States, and maybe you will become the alumni, come back to talk to your fellow students in Pakistan. Well, that's all I have to share with you guys. Isma?
Thank you so much, Christian and Junnan, for a comprehensive presentation. So for students who are interested in keeping in touch with Christian and Junnan, you can find their contact information on the slide on your screen. So thank you guys again. We really appreciate all of the detail that you provided to our outbound students. As promised, we will now be taking questions from our audience and questions collected from students we work with closely. For our audience, please feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A section. We encourage you to ask questions exclusively related to today's session, that is the U.S. classroom culture from the undergraduate perspective, as we will be discussing other topics over the next few days, so you will have the opportunity to ask those questions in our upcoming sessions. So we will begin with the Q&A formally now. So if we want to borrow an already existing idea or statement and incorporate that in an essay and give proper reference or citation to it, would that still be considered plagiarism?
No, it would not be considered plagiarism. So you'd be fine. So that would not be considered plagiarism. If you properly cite it using an MLA or APA style, and I think there's a couple more, you'll be just fine.
Thank you, Christian. I have not been able to take the language proficiency exam due to center closures. Because of this, I can't register for elective classes that I have interest in. Is there any way to bypass this restriction so I may register for classes?
Well,
I think they're gonna have to talk to that school, whatever school that you had applied to. You're gonna have to talk with them directly.
Thank
yeah, the
you.
same answer.
Okay, what immunizations are required before going to the United States? So this seems to be coming up a lot over our sessions, especially now in light of COVID.
Yeah.
Well, Christian, I'm not sure because in New York State, I think we only need we needed 2 shot of the MMR at least. I'm not sure in PA. I think it's a different state have a different requirement. Is that true?
It's different from state to state and school to school. So at my school, we're not requiring a vaccination unless they have direct contact with people who may have compromised immune systems, such as, say, like a pre-med student or a nursing student or an athlete. They'll be required, but for us, we're not requiring it, but other schools are requiring it. So it really depends. What is your school doing, Junnan?
Yeah, my school require at least 2 shots of MMR. And also, I think I forgot another one. It's 3 shots, and the 2 shots should be in between there the 30 days the gap. So if you take the MMR first one on July 1st, the second one should be after 30 days. You have to show us this, the immunization card. And also, if you come to the New York State, you can also wait until you come to the state. During the orientation, we will guide you to the local Department of the Health where you can get the immunization for free as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw that question and I immediately assumed they were talking about COVID. And I heard you say MMR. There's different. Yeah, it's a good question though, because there's different immunizations that are required, such as meningitis. A lot of schools will say, I need a meningitis. If not, if you don't have it, you can get it on campus, or you have to sign a waiver if you're not going to get it. I guess that's just a sign of the times. I'd immediately go COVID,
Thank you. And no, you're totally not wrong to think that, Christian, because we've been getting this a lot the past few days, and it has been related to COVID. So next question, what steps can I take if I feel I've been graded unfairly?
Well, I can take that because I did the same thing. I think I did the media management classes in my third semester, and I think I did very good in the class participation, everything. But I got a C plus or something. And what I do? Okay, so firstly, I asked around my peers. I said, "What's your score?" And they tell me, "Okay, I got a B. I got everybody is like very low. There was no A." But I feel like I think I should be better than C plus, right? I literally just like write email, request an office hour, and with my professor. And my professor gave it to me 20 minutes. I went there and I chatted with him like, okay, so I just kind of like asked, what is the grading system particularly for this media management classes? And can you just go over with me? So he kind of literally, he put out of my paper and a quiz and tell me, this is part of why I give you C plus, and this is part of why I give you this score, and where you can get improved. But I don't want you guys to feel like I'm going to my professor's office to just kind of like questioning her or he. But I think you can just change your mindset like, okay, I know it's what it is, but I want to know where else I can get improved if I have a second chance. Kind of like go to the discussion section with your professor, but it's totally fine to go and ask for why you get a certain score. So totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, I had a similar experience where I thought I should have received a different grade. And I had a conversation with the professor, and I pleaded my case. And although I didn't get the grade I wanted, I did get a slightly higher grade. So it was a bit of a compromise. So yes, you can have these conversations with your professors.
Thank you both. Is offering a different opinion or view from the professor discouraged or viewed negatively?
No, I don't think so. One of the great things about studying in the United States is you have this kind of dialogue and you have this kind of understanding to learn about differences in thought, in practice, in culture, and in language, and all these differences are why we want international students to be in our classrooms. Um, it's one of the great benefits, and I often tell people, I said, there's not one person in the world that knows everything, but together we can know a lot more.
Very wise words. Thank you, Christian. Okay, heavy question coming up. So gun culture is very common in the United States. How can we keep ourselves safe?
Junnan, how many guns do you own? 3, 4? How many?
No, yeah, I'm so don't have that gun. Well,
I don't have a gun either. I know.
Well, I mean, from my experience, I really agree what Chris just mentioned. So first of all, US campus is very safe. So play safe and act safe and be smart. So that's all the first things we can do. But at least here where I live in New York City, maybe you heard a lot of the news about it, the 4th of July, the gunshot in New York City. But I feel very safe and not engage or with a lot of that gun situations before in my almost 10 years life here in the United States. I'm not sure about you, Christian.
I live in rural Pennsylvania, so there's not, I work far away from campus and I work mostly remotely. So where I am, it's rural. So a lot of people who do have guns will use it for hunting. They go out and they'll hunt deer, rabbit, birds, and different types of birds and so forth. But yeah, I think it can be overblown a little bit by media and movies and things like that. So like Junnan said, like I mentioned earlier, on campus you'll be just fine, and be wise when you leave campus.
Thank you very much, and I hope that provides some comfort to our students. Is class participation important? What if someone is an introvert?
Well, I think it's pretty much very, 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 very important. And especially if you go for, no, depends on, no matter which program or different type of your program you're going to, because American culture is where you really have, like a Chris mentioned, you have to contribute your idea, your assignment, even doing a lot of the assignment, the group work presentation. You have to force yourself to participate. Otherwise, your professor don't know what you are thinking, whether you are already get what he or she wanted to study, right, or to learn. If somebody is an introvert, I think you always find a way to engage. I'm not asking you to be a drama queen in your classroom, like being a butterfly, whatever, but you still have to, answer your question, answer your professor's question gradually. If your first classes feel like I'm not ready, and find a way when it's, you need to answer the question, raise your hand. But it compared to, especially from my culture, Chinese people are always humble, always waiting for people to ask us questions, then we answer. But in the United States, no. If you don't ask, nobody knows what you're thinking. So you have to kind of like force yourself to change your mindset. It's not asking you to change from introvert to extrovert. It's kind of like, do you think about, okay, this is your own work, your own program, your own study. You have to make a way, no matter it's what, to make it happen, make it successful. So find your own way, your comfort zone, and make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to add anything to that. Well said.
Yes, thank you, Junnan. So I think we're on the last few questions. So two-part question. What's the best way to collaborate with students for work? What's the best way to mix in and become friendly with students of different races and ethnicities?
Well, I agree. Chris, you just mentioned food. Food is a common language.
You make Pakistani shish kebab. You'll have lots of friends.
Sure, and use food and use a common language, and yeah, I think from my experience is always just sometimes invite different friends from different country maybe to your house if your place is big enough, or just like hang out after your each class or some classroom to go to the restaurant to eat and go to see the sports. That's good.
Yeah, and I would say like just visit the international office, and sometimes a lot of these international offices, there'll be students just like you kind of milling about, sitting around, lounging around, and it's a great way to introduce yourself and ask questions and find out when you're from. And if you're living in a residence hall, or a dorm as some people call them, there's people talking, you're living next door to people, you have roommates, they're going to introduce you to people. Sometimes it just happens, it just kind of happens organically, and there's not a whole lot of effort that you put into it.
Thank you, guys. And yes, food is always, I think, a very common language.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I believe this is the last question. So can you share any tips on smoothly transitioning from a high school with a large student to teacher ratio to a smaller classroom as an undergraduate student?
Christian, you want to go first?
Yeah. So usually it's going small to big. This one's big to small. So this is a little different. So it's a little more intimate. There's more conversation that might be happening and more opportunities to speak out and voice opinions and thoughts and ideas and things like that. Gosh, I would just kind of maybe say, just kind of take it one step at a time. Observe first, watch how other people interact with each other, and then maybe go in. So initially, just kind of be an observer. I've always kind of done that myself. Just kind of observe how people are interacting and what's going on, and then maybe approaching and seeing what that particular classroom culture is. We talk about classroom culture, but it also varies from a particular class to a particular class and so forth.
I think I want to add it on. It's very simple. It's mindset. Because if you are a high school student, you are literally spend your time every day with your classroom, the same group of your students, your fellow students, and also you'll go back to your household to meet with your mother or father, right? But right now you are over 18. You are literally adults. And adults in the university, you don't have mama and papa to ask you what you want to eat every single day. And you are literally on your own, especially thousands of miles away from Pakistan. So your mindset will really help you to adjust and setting in this, no matter is a small ratio, big ratio. Like I said, you have to consider yourself like an adult who do everything, you are responsible for it. No matter it's good or bad, and that will make the whole hell of your time after 18 is more easier. So change your mindset from high school student to be adults and enjoying your life. That's most important.
Thank you so much. And thank you for those words, Junnan. I hope everyone enjoys and gets to enjoy being a student and not just take on the pressure and always feel pressured by their studies. So I think that's it for the questions. Thank you so much, guys, Christian and Junnan, for answering these questions. I hope this was helpful for our attendees. So moving on, we would like to inform everyone of an online workshop on managing culture shock being hosted by Education USA Pakistan in collaboration with Dr. Jim Robinson and Mr. Ethan on July 27th from 5:00 p.m. to 7:00 p.m. This 2-hour online workshop explores how an improvisational mindset can help international students navigate culture shock. We will be sharing the registration information via email soon. Once again, thank you all very much for attending the third session of our virtual pre-departure orientation. You have the information to join our sessions tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, but we will surely send you all a reminder. Tomorrow we'll be discussing the same topic of classroom culture, but this time from the graduate perspective, but you all can make sure to join us on Friday for our student panel discussions. If you need to speak to an Education USA advisor, we are here for you, so please contact your assigned advisor. If you do not know who your assigned advisor is, please email your nearest center. You can check out our center emails on the slide on your screen, or register for our free advising services by visiting our website, educationusa.pk. We also highly encourage you to follow us on our official social media platforms, Education USA Pakistan, USCFP, and the US Embassy to stay updated. Any parting words from our presenters before we formally conclude our presentation and move on to our quiz?
Well, I think my last words is the same. Okay, enjoying, guys. Welcome to the US, and yeah, enjoy your life.
Yeah, and congratulations on your acceptance and welcome, and just thank you, Education USA, for having Junnan and I appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much again. Everyone have a good evening. Junnan and Christian, if you'd like to stay on for the quiz, you're more than welcome, but we'll now formally end the recording of the presentation today and move on to the quiz. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you, bye.